Well, officials with the city of Grand Rapids now are holding a news conference right now.
They're expected to talk about Prosecutor Becker's charging decision and outline the process going forward to the community. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. To begin today, I want to take a moment to again offer my heartfelt sympathies to Patrick's family and friends as they continue to grieve the loss of their loved one. I understand that this is painful and that many people throughout our community have been deeply impacted. This tragedy has shaken our entire community. And even though the process has been frustrating for many of us, I do want to say how much I appreciate all those who have respected the time needed to complete a comprehensive investigation, enabling the prosecutor to make a decision based on all of the necessary details of this case. This decision by Prosecutor Becker to criminally charge Officer Christopher Schurr comes after a thorough investigation by the Michigan State Police and a lengthy review by our prosecutor. The legal determination was made without any input or influence from any member of the Grand Rapids City leadership and is the sole decision of the prosecutor. Today's announcement is an important step in the process of accountability and justice. And as we move forward, we have a lot of work to do. I want to recognize the important role of the staff and the officers and the leadership of our city police department and the role they play in our community. As a mayor and a colleague to 6 city commissioners who have been very clear about our commitment to improving police practices in our city for years, we recognize that this work is more important and it is more urgent than ever. I, along with my colleagues, remain committed to working with our city manager, our police chief, our director of public oversight and accountability, our community partners, some of which are here today, and our residents, as we strive to make long-term systemic changes that create a safer and a better community for everyone. That is our commitment today, and that is the commitment we will continue to have. And with that, I will now turn it to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everyone, for being here. As the Mayor said earlier, this has certainly been a difficult time for our community, as well as our police department. And I've, like many others, have heard the voice of frustration, anger, and disappointment. That deadly force was used by Officer Christopher Schurr, who has now been charged with second-degree murder in the shooting of Patrick Lyoya. I understand the community's anxiety these last 2 months as we worked through this process and awaited the prosecutor's decision. It was difficult, but the collective community resilience protected the integrity of the process. Since the beginning of the investigation, I said that I had more questions than answers and was committed to act with transparency and accountability to find out if this fatality was justified use of force, but would allow for a fair and impartial third-party investigative process. I also professionally and personally committed to ensure that there was integrity. Transparency occurred with the releasing of the video publicly, and now accountability question is being answered due to the work of Michigan State Police and the Kent County Prosecutor. I appreciate both the State of Michigan and Kent County for their diligence in conducting a fair and impartial review of this matter. The accountability question, however, will continue in the judicial process and the subsequent employment process and decisions and determinations that we will outline later in this briefing. While the charging decision work is closed, our work within the organization and the community will continue as we continue to evaluate all of the relevant policies and practices. Much of that work has begun, but still remains undone. We will continue to build upon past efforts, such as requiring independent investigations in officer-involved shootings, see how we can improve in that manner. the use and implementation of body-worn cameras, how traffic stops and analysis have been conducted in the past and the future, the use of sworn personnel and deployment, civilianization of officer duties, how our police department interacts with youth, and how we utilize our independent Office of Oversight and Investigation, the Civilian Appeals Board, and violence prevention programs, all continuing questions that are areas that we must continue to focus on and are committed to doing so. We will also continue to focus and work on de-escalation and ensuring that our officers are continue to be properly trained, but do so as was supported in my proposed budget, the use of community-informed and community-engaged training in which they're part of the design and will participate in future training that's developed. Police reform requires us to evaluate many long-standing practices and ensure our actions are consistent with the best interests of the community and the individuals involved, as well as the safety of our officers. I look forward to Chief Winstrom's review of departmental practices by the end of July. We have already started the work of interacting with our immigrant and refugee community. I look forward to expanding that conversation as well in all segments of our community. I remain committed to making sure our city is a place where everyone feels safe and is safe at all times. I recognize that this is a never-ending process and it will require active engagement and participation of the entire community if we're going to make that a reality. I would now like to present our Director of Oversight and Public Accountability, Brandon Davis.
Thank you, City Manager, and good afternoon. This has been a tough time for this community. My hope is that today serves as a step toward healing, reconciliation, and justice. My thoughts and prayers are shared with the family of Mr. Patrick Lyoya, with our community and all those who have been impacted by this incident. Since April 4th, our community has had the difficult task of working to heal from the tragic death of Patrick Lyoya at the hands of Christopher Schurr, while awaiting charging decisions in this matter. Today, Prosecutor Becker announced his decision to charge Christopher Schurr with second-degree murder, a felony punishable by up to life in prison. The criminal investigation and prosecutorial process is an important part of pursuing justice. As we've indicated previously, the City of Grand Rapids does not have the ability to make charging decisions regarding the criminal investigation. However, the city does have the responsibility to thoroughly conduct an internal employment investigation. As you know, pursuant to our city policy, the Michigan State Police conducted the full criminal investigation of this matter. Once those investigative reports are provided to the City of Grand Rapids, the internal employment investigation can and will move forward. The investigation will include the Internal Affairs Division review of the complete employment investigation that will include determining which city or police department rules, procedures, laws, or policies were violated. This may also include additional investigation and other employment steps. Pursuant to city rules and policies, in the event that the chief and the Internal Affairs Division recommend suspension and or termination, the city manager will make the ultimate decision regarding Christopher Schurr's employment status. If a recommendation to terminate Christopher Schurr is made to the city manager, pursuant to the city procedures, Mr. Schurr is entitled to a discharge hearing regarding the allegations that led to termination. Mr. Schurr is not required to participate in the hearing. However, he does have a right to that due process hearing. From that point, the city manager will make a determination regarding employment status. Once provided with the opportunity, the Office of Oversight and Public Accountability will review all available evidence, including the police reports to the extent allowed by law. Our office will and expects to continue to receive periodic updates from the Grand Rapids Police Department during their internal affairs investigation. We will evaluate the internal affairs report and findings, and we will release an audit of those findings publicly, redacted to the extent required by law, as quickly as possible. As we've previously indicated, after the investigation is concluded, we will do a post-incident review of the city's actions and consider concerns such as how much time it took to release video of this incident, when should an officer's name be released in connection with an investigation. We'll consider the amount of time it took to render aid. We'll also review what policy changes, if any, can be implemented to help prevent this type of result. We'll look at when officers should use disengagement as a form of de-escalation. We'll also evaluate our current body-worn cameras and their mounting capabilities. We'll consider a sanctity of life policy, a duty to do no harm policy, and we'll also review our paid administrative leave policy. In addition to the internal investigation, the ultimate employment decision, and post-investigation audit, the city has also committed and provided resources through the budget process to support increasing engagement on public safety matters and co-creating training with community to help improve public safety outcomes. This is a tough time for the city, for our community, and for the world. The pursuit of justice is not always easy, but it is always necessary. We must seek justice. We must do justice. We must continue to put action behind our words. We must do everything in our power to ensure that all people feel safe and are safe at all times in our community. I will do everything in my power to ensure that the laws and processes are followed fully and transparently to help increase accountability. Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it over to Chief Winstrom.
I want to once again offer my condolences to the Lyoya family for their loss and to thank them for their continued calls for peace during this time. I want to thank the Michigan State Police for all the work that they did to conduct a thorough, independent investigation. I respect the decision of County Prosecutor Becker. Based on the information that I have available to me at this time, I intend to recommend the city manager immediately suspend Officer Schurr without pay pending termination. I recognize the impact this will have on a longtime employee and a friend of many at the Grand Rapids Police Department, but I think it is the right thing to do. Over the past 2 months, under the most challenging conditions, the men and women of the Grand Rapids Police Department have been giving 100% and are doing an incredible job for the city. I am unaware of another agency involved in such a high-profile incident which demonstrated such a level of professionalism during such a difficult time. And I'm thankful to be the Chief of Police of the Grand Rapids Police Department. So as of today, Officer Schurr is still an employee. I'm going to provide a letter to the city manager asking that he be suspended without pay. The way the process works is it's a process before termination by labor law. So we're going to commence that process immediately, but he will be suspended without pay pending termination.
So when will you submit that?
It will be by close of business today.
By close of business, so that, but in theory,
I don't know what his status is physically. I know he was lodged in the jail. He's obviously not at work today. So this is, everything's unfolding in real time for us as well.
I guess I mean, like, when you submit that, another day or two until he is actually suspended without pay.
So what the chief is saying, there are employment rights that every employee has, particularly civil servants that are covered by contract. So the chief is going to recommend to me his termination, but he's going to immediately suspend pay. We're going to notice the employee or his representative of the chief's recommendation of my decision to concur with the chief's recommendation pending the outcome of a hearing. We have a hearing that we'll schedule as soon as possible, give the employee a time and his representatives to prepare for it. And after that hearing, we'll make a decision. So I anticipate that to occur mid to early next week.